Today on In Focus, with award-winning host Yesenia Taveras, right now online is special guest Mrs. Delaware America, Musulain Toomer on WITN 22. Hello, welcome to In Focus. I'm your host Yesenia Taveras. Joining me today is Mrs. Musulain Toomer. She's recently been crowned Mrs. Delaware America 2020, and she's going to represent Delaware in the national title competition in Las Vegas, Nevada in January 2021. She joins us today to share with us her journey in being born and raised in West Africa to coming to Delaware for college to becoming a fitness instructor. Now, this interview today is going to go very different like none other on In Focus, because as we all know, there are many, many women who compete in pageants across America. But this one is very different. In this episode, we're going to learn about all the different layers that makes Mrs. Delaware America who she is. From being a passionate fitness instructor, to being a pageant queen, to being a mother and wife. And she joins us now to speak with us her journey in becoming Mrs. Delaware America. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I'm super excited. I've done pageantry competitions in the past. I've had queens on In Focus on my talk show in the past, but this one is so different because this pageant here allows you have to be actually, not allow, you have to be married to compete, and you're allowed to have children. And I'm all for that.
Me too. 100%. 100%.
Wonderful. So before we get started, Mrs. Toomer, I wanted to give the opportunity for our viewers to learn a little bit about your background, which I find fascinating. You were born and raised in West Africa, but you didn't stay in one country. You have the experience of 3 different countries in Africa. So talk to us about your upbringing.
Yes. So I was born in Liberia, which is a very small country located in the west coast of Africa. It was actually named America's stepchild because in the 1800s, when the slave left America, they migrated to Liberia and they established it. So we're a little bit similar to America in a little sense. And then I moved to Senegal, where I grew up and went to French school. Had the opportunity to learn a new language, which was quite challenging in the beginning, because as a little girl, you move to a new country, I started speaking English, and then I was thrown into a different culture, a different society, and I had to learn the new language. But the best way to do things sometimes is just to be thrown into it. And it was such a fantastic experience in Senegal. I stayed there for about 6 to 7 years. And I also had the opportunity to move to another African country, which is also in the west coast of Africa. It's called Ghana. I went to all-girls boarding school in Ghana, which was a completely different experience from going to a unisex school and going to an all-girls school. That was an adjustment as well. But all those things shaped me into the person I am today. So I looked at them as a blessing.
Most definitely. And are there any barriers you might have faced growing up in Africa that we might not just even know about here in America?
Well, as a young African child, I grew up quite, I would say very, very a bit shelter. Our parents protected us from everything. They didn't want us to do a lot of things. So we pretty much were quite sheltered growing up. And me particularly, I love to be outside. So I was always outside playing. Television was not really part of my activity or part of my leisure time. I was a tomboy when I was little, believe it or not. And I loved playing outdoors, loved playing outside in the bushes. And I used to get hurt all the time because I just love to be outdoors. I enjoy nature. So I guess that's one big difference I see here in the States versus growing up in Africa. We were always outdoors playing ball, playing jump ropes, just being outdoors. And which is a little different the way things are here. But that was such a great experience.
Yes, like none other. I remember growing up outdoors myself, and it's completely different now that America is so technology driven. I feel from like the time a child is about 2 years old till their adult life. And it's unfortunate because they're missing out on all the great things and experiences and social skills they can build being outside.
Absolutely. Nature teaches us so much. You just have to give it an opportunity. You have to be out there to learn so much from nature. And I think our youth are missing that today, really are.
Yes. And also speak to us in regards to, you mentioned being French speaking. A lot of countries throughout our world have like their dominant language. Talk to us about that experience. And then we'll get into how you had to switch gears once you came to Delaware.
Absolutely. So the country I was actually born in is English speaking. So I started off with English actually. And then afterwards, when I moved to Senegal, I had to learn French. And that was a bit challenging because, as a kid, learning, being moving to a new country, a new culture, and trying to learn the culture and trying to learn the language could be a little bit difficult. But the people around me were very kind. And I was young enough that I still was a sponge. We always say children are sponges, they absorb so much. So, being that I was young enough, I was able to adapt to the culture and learn the language and speak it fluently up to today. And also being thrown into school, you had no choice. The teacher only spoke French. So I had to sit there and just listen like I knew what he or she was talking about and picking up little words here and there. And before you know it, you're speaking fluently because you have no choice because you're in a country where they only speak that particular language. So it was a bit difficult in the beginning, but then initially things got a bit easier.
And Mrs. Delaware America, you moved from West Africa to the United States of America at the young age of 16 years old. I can only imagine all the things that was possibly going through your mind, the anxiety you might have or might not experience. Take us back to that 16-year-old Miss Toomer and take us back to the experiences that you had at that time.
Absolutely. So I remember I came here to the States when I was 16 and it was in May. I came in the month of May. I've heard of the United States, all my life, but I've never been. So when I actually landed and I came, it was like, wow, this is what they call America. It was so exciting. And, you start hearing the language is different. Yeah, I spoke English, but our accents were different. And you start looking around, seeing people. Now, coming from Africa, the majority of people look like me. So when I moved here, there was different kind of people, white, black, different nationalities. So that was one big difference I noticed. And the way they spoke was also different. And I came here, it was in May, so it was in the summertime, so I didn't experience snow yet, but it was coming. By November, December, I remember seeing snow for the first time and being in awe, like going outside and literally picking the snow up and touching it with my fingers and saying, oh, wow, this is what they call snow. So that was a little, that was different for me, but it was a great experience. Every little thing mattered because I hadn't experienced it before. And then going to school, just looking at the kids and how different they were, how things were different back home versus here, the teacher trying to adapt my ear to the way they spoke English because I was coming from a French speaking country. So my brain was wired in French, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I spoke in French and translated in English. So listening to the teacher, trying to grasp what he or she was saying, and just kind of, it was a lot to take in. It was a lot to take in again, but I was still young enough. 16 is quite young to just throw yourself in it and just absorb it, and you have no choice but to adapt to it. That was, it was, thinking about it now, it was a little difficult, but then over time I got adjusted to it and it became second nature.
And for those Africans who are possibly watching us right now, share with us any advice you can share with them in regards to their transition from Africa to the States.
Indeed. In every country, I say there's good and bad. So as you come to this country, look for the good. There's so many good. Adapt to it. There's so much to learn. I learned about myself. I became a woman in this country. So I love this country. It's a beautiful country. There's so many good things that you can learn from this place. So when you come focus on your education, focus. In my case, I was young, so I was entering in high school and entering college. Focus on what you came here for. Focus on your education and just stay away from the bad. There will always be good and bad in every country. Focus on the good, take what you can take from it, and the sky's the limit.
And now take us back to when you were 16 years old. You talked to us just recently right now about the culture shock, the environmental shock, experiencing snow for the first time. But talk to us about being 16 years old and being French speaking, having an accent as an African. I can only imagine there's so many differences, which I like to call the uniqueness of you, that another 16-year-old in school might look at and be like, I don't know what's going on here. So talk to us about that part.
Indeed, indeed. As a child, as a kid, everyone wants to fit in. You want to fit in. Children usually don't like to stand out. I appreciate my differences now than I did before. Because at 16, when I moved here, I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to sound like everybody else. I wanted to act like everybody else. And I wanted to look like everybody else. So I remember saying, trying to speak like an American, change my accent and try to, act like what the kids, like everybody else, because no one wants to be different as a kid. What my name was different, and then I had an accent. So when people met me, it was two things that they said. One was, "Oh, what's your name, Musulain? What is it?" They couldn't enunciate my name. One, and two, "Oh, you have an accent. Where you're from?" Those were inevitably the two things that people said to me every time they met me. And as a 16, 17-year-old, I don't know, you sometimes don't want that because you just want to fit in like every other 16-year-old. But now, oh, please, I welcome those two statements about me. I have an accent and my name is different. I do welcome it. But back then, it was a little bit, I wasn't very happy about being pulled out of a crowd or standing out. I wanted to just fit in as a regular 16-year-old.
And fit in was something that you were able to experience once you got to college because you were able to connect with other students who come from other countries.
Yes.
Talk to us about your decision in going to Goldie Beacon College here in Delaware, and what kind of effect or impact did that have in your life?
Indeed. My Goldie Beacon years were one of my best years, 4 years. I met people from all over the world. It was quite an international private college, so there were people from all over the continent, and it was it really shaped me into the person I am today. Even though I hadn't traveled around the world, but I met all these people, taught me different things about the world, about their culture and about their country. So it felt like I traveled the world. It made me accepting of others. It made me open to differences. Even though coming from Africa, I was already open, but meeting people from Spain or meeting people from Egypt or from different parts of the world just opened my horizon. And I got to learn about different culture and experience something different than what I was used to, which was, I think that's the best way to learn. The best way to learn. It was my best years.
And learning is something that you're continuing to do. You stepped out of your comfort zone and you've tried something new, which is the field and world of competition in pageants. Take us there. How did this all start for you? How did you even know about Mrs. Delaware America? How did you get started into this?
Oh, there's a story behind this. So I never imagined myself doing pageant. I'm quite comfortable with myself, but I never really imagined. I've been asked before, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And my response will always, you're very kind. Thank you for thinking highly of me to step out and put myself out there like that. I used to admire the pageant girls when I would see pageants. I used to say, how do they get up there and do it? Like that's so empowering. That's so bold. So a young lady by the name of Daphne first came up to me and said, Musulain, I think you would be great at pageant. You should go for it. And again, my response was the same. Thank you so much. That was so kind of you, but I don't think I could do it. And it was mainly what I was saying was I was really afraid. Even though I was this confident lady, I was still afraid to put myself out there because, again, it was not in my box, I say. I don't have a box, but it was not in the things that I did. It was out of my comfort zone, let me say that. So I thought about it. I actually had a conversation with myself in the mirror. And I said, what are you afraid of? What do you have to lose? Go for it. What do you have to lose? And I did.
And Musulain, share with us what helped to convince you to take that step out of your comfort zone. Sometimes many of us, we sit on that fence for so long and we never take that leap. So share with us what kind of helped to push you to say, you know what, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this.
Yes, well, so I'm an adventurous person, quite adventurous, and I wanted to grow. I wanted to grow. I don't think growth happens in your comfort zone. So for me, that talk I had with myself in the mirror, I was like, how are you going to grow if you don't do something you're uncomfortable with, or that scares you? So after I had that chat with myself and I wanted to grow and become a better person or a different person or enter a space that I've never been before. There's so many opportunities all over, but you have to open yourself up to it. So that was one deciding factor that made me say, go for it. Why not? Especially, I had nothing to lose. If you really think about it, you have nothing to lose. So why not? Also, have two wonderful daughters that I thought about. And I said, as their mother, I want to teach them that. I always tell them, sky's the limit. You can do anything. I want you to believe in yourself. So I had to take that advice myself and believe in myself and say, just go for it. Even though you're not comfortable with this, just go for it.
And go for it, you did. There were 3 categories that you had to compete in: interview, gown, and swimsuit. Take us back to those 3 different competition areas. And what did you do both mentally and physically to prepare yourself for it?
Yes. So one thing I told myself was be yourself. Even though I've never done pageant before, I wanted to be myself. I didn't want to step into a role or step into another person. So it was very important that I was strong mentally. And when I say that, I mean just be comfortable with who you are and be yourself. And if they like you, great. If they don't like you, at least you were yourself when you went there. So after I told myself, honestly, nerves, I was not nervous. When I got to the pageant, I saw the other beautiful young ladies. I was not nervous because I was confident up here. I had my mind, I had control of my mind. I didn't compare myself with anybody. I was rooting for all the girls, as women. For me, I was rooting for everybody because one of us was going to win, whether it was me or one of the other ladies. So I was rooting for everybody. And I just said, be yourself. Be myself was one thing that stuck with me. Be yourself.
And Musulain, out of all the pageants in the United States of America, you went ahead and chose Mrs. Delaware America's pageant. Talk to us about the difference here, because one thing that I really like about this particular pageant is that you have to be married. So it encourages that stigma out here that most pageants are catered towards single women, women who don't have children. But this pageant is the complete opposite. This one, you have to be married to compete, and you can have children. So that speaks to the beauty and all the mothers out here who think that they don't have what it takes to compete in a competition.
Indeed, we're women. We all matter. There's a spot for every single one of us, and I'm very glad that they added this particular part of the competition, being married and having children, because women who were married before this part of the pageant existed, women who were married with children probably wanted to do a pageant, but they couldn't, and that was not fair. So I was very glad that there's a part for women who are married and have children.
And one thing I love about your personality and your character and who you are, you're a person that allows the journey to take you places as opposed to you controlling your journey and your destiny. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about how important it is for you to remain just open to new experiences and really taking that moment to enjoy the journey.
Indeed. I think life is an adventure, and it's an adventure to the extent of you allow it to be. I think if you open your mind, you open your hearts to new experiences, there's so much out there. There's so much out there. And for me, I love experiencing new things. I love being adventurous. So anything that is different than what I've done before, I'm open to it. It makes you become a better person, and I want to teach my daughters that, life is an adventure. Don't lock yourself up in a box open your minds, open your soul to learning new things, to experiencing new things, meeting new people, and see where it takes you. But there's certain along the way, there's certain lessons you're going to learn. You got to pick up lessons from each experience and proceed with it, because life is a big box of lessons, I'll say.
Yes, and this journey is taking you to Las Vegas, Nevada in January 2021 for the national title competition. Is there anything that you're doing to prepare yourself for this moment?
Well, one, I'm excited. I've never been to Las Vegas, so this would be my first time. So I'm really looking forward. Well, of course, I'm going to get a coach, a low, interview coach and walking coach, just to kind of fine tune little things here and there for me on stage. And I'm excited. I'm going to get my gowns and the makeup and the whole girly things that I love. All of that, I'm looking forward to. As far as what I'm doing to prepare, mentally, of course, I'm keeping my mind right, as far as just, stay true to yourself, stay true to focus on what you're there for. Have fun. Don't take it too seriously. Just have a great time, doing the necessary coaching that I need and just going for it. I'm just going for it with an open mind, with lots of confidence. And what's for me is going to be for me. I truly believe that.
Yes, and so do I. And best of luck to you in that competition. I'm pretty sure you're going to do well. But before you actually get to the competition, you're doing a lot in regards to just your personal life. You made sure that your platform in this pageant speaks to your passion in fitness. Talk to us about why that's so important to you.
Absolutely. I talk about our bodies a lot. Health is everything. You've heard of the phrase health is wealth. I believe that wholeheartedly. Our temple is one of our greatest gifts, and we have to take care of it from the inside out, from a spiritual standpoint, emotional and physical standpoint. And fitness, I think it helps with many layers of us. It helps us with depression, anxiety, stress, so many things that our bodies that we can help our bodies get rid of. So fitness for me is a lifestyle. Yes, it's a platform, but it's also the way we should live our lives. I think we should exercise. The body is not meant to not move, so we have to exercise and feed our body with healthy nutrition for us to be able to live a healthier life and be kind. I think love starts with oneself. When we love ourselves, better way for us to be able to give out love to the world. So by taking care of our bodies, we're able to be a better mother, a better friend, because, sometimes with stress, with life experiences and stressful jobs and different things, we need an outlet. And I think fitness, exercise is a great way to de-stress from all of life's obstacle that comes at us sometimes. So I stand behind exercise 100%. For me, it's like a medicine to so many things that could occur in life.
And I had the greatest pleasure and honor in joining you at one of your Zumba fitness classes. And that is where we're going to take this show, to the next level in regards to seeing who Mrs. Toomer is as a fitness instructor. So stay with us, for we're going to have more here with Mrs. Toomer as a personal fitness instructor.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
So we're here at Monster Mode Athletics with Musulain Toomer, who's recently been crowned Mrs. Delaware America. And another side of her that a lot of people haven't been exposed to is her fitness side as an instructor, and she also loves Zumba. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, it's so great to have you on the show to show all the different types of layers of you, not just Mrs. Delaware America, but as a mother and as a fitness instructor. And now we're going to talk about this side of you, Absolutely. This passionate part of you.
Indeed.
Talk to us about how this started.
So fitness is my lifestyle. I was stay-at-home mom for quite a few years, and I decided later on, my girls got a bit older, I decided to reinvent myself because my background is finance, and I entered into the fitness world because I saw the benefit that it gave me, because even at home as a stay-at-home mom, I always worked out. I remember I used to work out to Billy Blank's tape in my living room every single day while my girls were napping or were playing around. So I saw how it made me feel and all the benefits that I gained from working out every day. And I decided to reinvent myself and become a dance instructor, Zumba instructor, and a personal trainer. So I started teaching Zumba, and teaching Zumba was unbelievable. My first Zumba class, I fell in love with it. I was like, this is what I want to do. It was still quite flexible for me. I was able to make my own schedule and still be a stay-at-home mom with my 2 babies. The benefits to Zumba are endless. It makes you feel unbelievable, just unbelievable. It makes you feel happy. It makes you feel fit. It makes you feel empowered. It makes you feel like you can do it all. Because when you feel good, you want to do better for yourself. So, and here at Master Mode, I teach Zumba here, and I also do personal training here as well, which is, lifting weights and helping the body to be strong.
And one of the great things about fitness and working out is the endorphins that you release. Absolutely. And you like to give that a nickname. Talk to us a little bit about that part of the fitness.
I do. So I call it the happy hormones, which endorphins. It makes us happy. When you exercise, those hormones are released in the body, and it puts you in a better mood. It helps you with stress. Some of us have very stressful jobs. Some of us have different things that have occurred in our life that gives us anxiety, and also with everything that's going on in our country today. So when you exercise the body, those hormones are released, and it puts you in a better mood to be able to deal with the different challenges life presents you, because they will be there. It's just how you deal with them is what makes you, what sets us apart. So if you learned how to deal with your different situations that could occur in your life, challenges, depression, anxiety, you tend to, handle them a lot better.
And now you spoke on the part of where, as a mother, you were staying at home and you wanted to look for something that spoke to you, who you are as a person, as opposed to going back to corporate America and working a regular 9-to-5. There's a lot of women today, and especially mothers, who want to be in the shoes that you're currently walking and want to step out of their comfort zone and dive into something that they're very passionate about instead of going back to their 9-to-5 job. Take us back to that part of your life and how you were able to make that transition happen.
Absolutely. Well, having my daughters, which was one of my best gift that God has blessed me with, I wanted to be home with them. I wanted to be the one who was more influenced in their life. I wanted to influence them more. I wanted to be around them. And I couldn't see that happening for me working 9-to-5, because I would have been away from them the entire day. So they really inspired me to dive into my passion and share with the world. My daughters, they're my blessing, and I wanted them to learn that you have to take care of your body. And by living the example, they see how I live, and they're inspired to grow up to be, to work on themselves and make sure they take care of themselves as well. So deciding to stay home and reinvent myself, my daughters inspired me to do that. They helped me, share my passion with the world and teach people how important it is to take care of yourself. I was blessed that my husband, I was able to take care of the family, which helped me leave my full-time job and venture into this part-time job that I'm doing with fitness and wellness. When I started back 16 years ago, I started quite small. My business has grown a lot now, but I started quite small with just teaching Zumba, and I was teaching twice a week, I believe. And as they got older, I kept on, advancing my business, adding more days. Now I teach 4 times a week, and I personally train from Monday to Saturday. So over the years, it has definitely grown, and they really inspire me to better my business and better myself.
So Musulain, talk to us about the diversity that you have in your classroom, how you actually open up your doors to all kind of women, all different fitness levels. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. So Zumba and even personal training, I'm exposed to so many people from different ethnicity, different culture, different walks of life, because Zumba is an international class, so it draws people from all walks of life in all different cultures. So it's a very diverse group. In a Zumba class, you could have 6 different nationalities. How amazing is that? Because we all come together like one big fitness family, I call it, and we just dance and we have a good time. Because Zumba, the music that I play, I try to play music from different countries, different languages, and so it draws people in. It's a happy class, so you don't have to be African to enjoy the African song. You don't have to be Latin to enjoy the Latin song, or Indian to enjoy the Indian song. We all just come together, and whatever song is out there, we just open our hearts to it and enjoy for that moment. So it's amazing. I get to meet people from all different cultures, which is such a blessing. That's how you learn. When you're exposed to different culture and you open your hearts and your mind to different cultures, you're able to be more accepting and more loving, because we're all different, but all beautifully made.
Yes, and you're right. You're really, really big on your body is your temple. Indeed. And you're teaching women throughout our community how important it is to take care of who we are in the inside as well. Absolutely. Talk to us about why that's so important to you.
Yes. So wellness, self-wellness is not just physical. It's also spiritual, and is what's inside of you. So surrounding yourself with positivity, having a positive mind, controlling your thoughts, having control of your mind is half the battle, I believe. When you have a better positive thinking, you tend to navigate through this world a lot better, because you think positive and you project positivity. So positivity comes back to you. The law of attraction, I call it. When you think positive, when you draw positivity in, it comes back to you. But when you think negative, that's what you draw to you. So taking care of yourself is not just physical, it's not just exercising and making sure your body is fit, it's also taking care of your inside, and that is just being positive. Being positive has so many positive effects. I use the word positive because it's, that's what we want in our lives. But thinking positive and controlling your thoughts, not having your thoughts go in a negative way, has a very positive effect in your life.
And it's so fitting for you to talk about positivity, because one may think working out and getting muscles as a woman is not a woman thing to do. And here you are as Mrs. Delaware America, advocating for fitness and for women to be okay with lifting weights and not be worried about the bulkiness that you might get, lifting some pounds here and there. Talk to us about that part of you in regards to inspiring other women that it's okay to lift weights and it's okay to work out.
Indeed. So beauty and taking care of yourself and being healthy does not come in one shape. We all have different shapes and sizes. So some of us might be a little bigger than others. Some of us might be able to build muscle a little bit more than others, or not. So I try to tell women, lifting is not something that's going to make you bulky necessarily. It's just to have stronger bones. So as we all get older, we're able to be strong, and the elasticity of your skin can be nice and tight as you age. So I encourage women, lifting is not just a male thing. It's anybody can do it. And it depends on the makeup of your body. I wouldn't worry about being too bulky or being, or I don't want to look too manly. You're just trying to be strong. And we look differently. We all come in different shapes and sizes. So health does not necessarily just look one way. You could have a woman who is healthy, both women who are healthy and look different, and that's fine. So focus on just moving your body, exercising, lifting weights, and don't worry about, too much about being bulky or, trying to looking like a man. It doesn't work that way. it just makes your body strong, it makes your bones strong, and it helps your skin.
And Musulain, one thing that's so inspirational about your story is that you went from finance to fitness. And so this is not something you went to college to get a degree in. You actually tapped into it when you found the passion and the love. So talk to us about just jumping out on your dedication, determination in regards to your passion, and making sure that you find a way to make it work for you, because this is what you want to do.
Absolutely. So I say, you know, when you love what you do, you're not working. So coming to work every day, working with different women and men, it makes me, it's not a job, because I love it. I love helping people live their best life. I love helping people, you know, get into shape or get into the best body that they want. So for me, it's not really a job. It's my passion, but it's a way of life for me. So it's really a blessing to be able to help people get into the best shape and just live a better life.
So Musulain, talk to us about what words of advice you could give to that woman who has no clue about fitness, how to incorporate this into their lifestyle. What could you share with us in regards to making this a daily routine for you?
Absolutely. So fitness, again, is a lifestyle. I recommend before you start any fitness program to get clearance from your doctor to make sure you're healthy to proceed. And make short-term goals. Because a lot of times we start with, I'm going to do this for a year, or I'm going to do this for 3 months. So what I tell people, make daily goals. So today, make a decision that I'm going to do something, some kind of fitness activity for myself, whether it be running, walking, grabbing a friend, going to the gym. And if you're unfamiliar with the gym, I recommend a trainer, because what happens is, you know, you want a trainer will guide you, will show you the proper form so you don't injure yourself while you're in the gym, just to guide you along the way to help you kind of organize your exercise a bit. But if you can't afford a trainer, you can get on the treadmill, you can walk, you can go to a park. But I suggest that you make short-term goals, because a lot of times we make these long-term goals, and it's very difficult to keep a long-term goal. So daily, make a decision that today I am going to do something for myself, some kind of activity, whether it's dancing, walking, running, grabbing a friend, going to a park. So I will start with short-term goals, and every day say, I'm going to do this today. When you conquer today, tomorrow is a new day. Make a decision that I'm going to do this today. And I understand we all have jobs. You know, we're all consumed with our jobs. But think about it. You have to invest in yourself. And exercising is a way to invest in yourself. So you have to make a decision. It starts in the mind with, I'm making a decision to invest in my health. Everything starts in the mind. Every decision starts in the mind. And when you make that decision and that commitment to yourself, it's easier to proceed and start with short-term goals. Start short.
And lastly, before we go, could you share with us just some words of empowerment in regards to being unique and being just you? You won Mrs. Delaware America because you were not afraid of showing people your fitness side, your mother side, all these different layers to who it is that makes Musulain Toomer, Miss Musulain Toomer. So share with us in regards to any words of empowerment you can share with other women out there who are being kind of drifted away by not getting enough likes on social media. You know, we live in a different world right now where a lot of women's self-esteem is actually gotten lower because they're looking to society way of living. Here you're actually closing that noise down, and you're showing women and young girls that it's okay to be different. It's okay to wear your hair natural.
Absolutely.
It's okay to be who you are, and you
Absolutely.
still can win and be on top. Talk to us about that.
Indeed, absolutely. Thank you. It's a great question. So self-love is the number one love, I say, because if you don't love yourself, it's hard to give love. So I encourage women to step out of the comfort zone, because growth does not happen in the comfort zone. If there is something that you're afraid to do that will help you, that could empower you, I encourage you to step out of that box and just do it. You never know what could come from it if you don't try. So if there's something you're thinking about that you want to do, that it holds you back because you're insecure about this or that, I encourage you to just step out. Step out of your comfort zone. Challenge yourself. And it's easier said than done, because even getting into the pageant, I had to challenge myself and say, this is not something that I usually do, but this is growth, because I stepped out of something that was not in my comfort zone. And when you step out of your comfort zone, you realize so many strengths that you didn't know you had. For me personally, when I did the pageant, yes, I was a confident woman and I did fitness and I felt good about myself, but it was still something different. I had to put myself out there. So it made me feel like I can do anything. I actually feel now that I can do anything just from that decision I made.
Thank you so much, Musulain, for the opportunity to be in your element, for allowing In Focus in one of your Zumba classes so we could experience what it's like to have you as a fitness instructor. This has been a once-in-a-lifetime experience for us, especially during this pandemic, and you've made it all worth it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Now continue to follow me as we take a deeper dive in Mrs. Musulain Toomer's Mrs. Delaware America's life.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Welcome to the last part of the show with Mrs. Musulain Toomer, who's recently been crowned as Mrs. Delaware America. On this part of the show, we're going to highlight her as a mother and a wife, and joining me today is her husband, Mark Toomer, herself, and her two daughters, Ariana and Hannah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
This is truly an honor to be amongst the family, the first here during In Focus the entire year. This is the first of its kind we're doing this.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, great opportunity. And we're going to go right into it. I'm so eager to know how the two of you met.
So you want to start, or you want me to talk about it?
Well, we both used to work at JP Morgan here, and I started in New York. And then I was transferred down to Delaware, and we met when I was in Delaware. So a mutual friend kind of put us in contact with each other. And then I got the courage to ask her out to lunch.
He got the courage. I love that part.
And then the rest, as they say, is history.
And how was it for you, meeting someone for the first time, dating, and officially getting married?
It was nice. It was interesting. I didn't give in for the first time, I will say. I did hold back a bit. I wanted to get to know him a little bit more before I completely give in. And when I got to know him a bit longer, we went on the first date. It was actually on our lunch break at work. We went out to Michael's. Yeah, we went out to Michael's and had a lunch date, and it was nice. It was 24 years ago, and it was a nice date. And I knew he was a nice guy.
And so once the two of you officially got married, is it then when you moved to New York? Talk to us about your transition from Delaware to New York.
Well, yeah, we got married in May of 2001, and we moved to New York in September of that same year. Actually, I think it might have been a month or two earlier than that. So it was 3 months after we got married, I moved to New York. That was a job transfer. And that's when she decided to be a stay-at-home, soon-to-be mom.
Yes.
So we settled in New Jersey because I knew she'd be going back and forth between New York and Delaware. So we found some place that was kind of in the middle, which was Hillsborough, New Jersey. And then we were there for 3 years before we made our way back to Delaware.
Let's start with the part in your life where you decided to transfer to another state during the September 11th attacks. How did that impact you guys at the time?
So we moved to New York in June. Got married in May. We moved in June. So you have July, August, and September, and then September 11 happened. So it really shook everybody's world, as you can imagine. I think everybody remembered where they were during that time. I had stopped working because JP Morgan merged with Chase, and my job was eliminated. So he was transferred to New York. So when we moved to Jersey, I decided to just take a break and just, kind of get myself acclimated with the stage and the house and get to know my neighbors and get to meet people. And then September 11 happened. And after that, it was very difficult to find a job. So, he went to New York every day. He left very, very early in the morning, came back very late. So that was difficult for me as a newlywed. I barely saw my husband. He left early around 4 o'clock in the morning. He was on a 5:30 train to the city, and then came back very late. So I was by myself practically the whole day. And, it was difficult for me because I remember saying, oh my God, what did I get myself into? I barely see my husband. I'm by myself. I don't know a lot of people in New Jersey. I didn't have a lot of friends there. Most of my family were here in Delaware. So I had to really persevere during that time. I really had to persevere during that time. It was difficult.
And then, although it was difficult, the two of you decided to have children. But like many women, there can be some challenges, but you guys actually found victory in the challenge. Yes. Talk to us about that time in your life and how you were able to just persevere and keep faith and focus alive.
Absolutely. For me, I was 27 when we decided to start having children and realized that it was going to be a little bit bumps in the road. So I went ahead and went on this road of IVF. I did IVF with my first child, and it was very successful. It's a bit of an emotional process going through IVF. As a young woman, 27, I thought I was healthy, and I was like, it should happen so naturally and quickly, but it was not the case for me. So I did IVF, and during the whole process, I was very positive about it. I almost knew that it was going to work. So I would say my faith carried me through this whole process. Even though I was new to IVF, I've never heard of it. I just knew that whatever they were doing, it was going to work because I trusted in God. And successfully, it worked on the first try. And the journey didn't end there, the journey of difficulty, because she stayed in the hospital for 44 days. And, I had to also persevere through that. As a new-time mom, you expect to bring your baby home and be with your baby, but I had to leave my every day, come home and go back to see her. So that was also a very difficult process. But even the times that she was in the NICU, I knew she was going to be fine because I had prayed for this baby. I knew I was going to have this baby, and I knew God was going to take care of her till the end. And today she's a whopping 17-year-old. So sweet. She's my sweet baby. Yeah, very strong, very, very strong and very sweet.
And Mr. Toomer, we rarely hear from the man's perspective when a woman's going through this. What was going on through your mind, and how were you there to support her during this time in your life?
Well, it's obviously she's doing all the work, and I just have to be there and be as supportive as I can. Because anybody that knows the process, it's a series of injections that I think were daily. Mm-hmm. So that was difficult. So I was just trying to be supportive, because I know it was emotional for her. And I'm not that emotional, so I knew that she was going through some trials and tribulations. So I just tried to be a shoulder to cry on if necessary.
And what words could the two of you share with other couples and families that are going through this, might not get it the first try and then have to go a series of tests and try it again? What could you share with those families in regards to just not quitting and just having that same focus and faith that it will happen, to stick with it?
Absolutely. I believe in faith. Faith got me through this, Of course, there's lots of women out there who did try IVF and did not succeed. Some decide to just walk away and be all right with it, and some decide to keep trying. If that's what you really want, I would say don't give up unless you want to. But have faith. Believe it's going to happen. I believe in manifesting what we want in our lives. For me, I wanted it. I remember going in at the time, it was the baby's room, even though I didn't have a baby. And this might sound crazy, but I kid you not, this is exactly what I did. I went in this empty room, and I remember dancing around the room, singing this song, "Soon and very soon, God is going to give me a child." I sang this song, I danced around the room because I just knew in my heart. I prayed for it, and I knew God was going to give it to me. I didn't doubt him, because when you pray for something, you can't doubt, because then you're not completely, you're not trusting of the Most High. So when I prayed for it, I released everything, and I knew it was going to happen. Even I remember the nurse at the fertility center said to me, she said, if you were negative, I was going to take off of work that day, because you were just so positive that this was going to work. I knew it was going to work. I mean, it might sound weird to some people, but honestly, my faith was that strong that I knew, no doubt, that it was going to work. And I even told my the doctor at the time, I said, when she comes, and I said she, and I didn't know what it was going to be at the time. I said, when she comes out, I'm going to spank her bottom for putting me through all this nonsense, all this emotional roller coaster. And so I would tell any couple going through this, because there's lots of women out there, if that's what you really want, pray about it and believe it. And it's okay if you decide, okay, you know what, I've tried and this is not, it didn't work for me, I'm going to walk away. Some women are all right with that. But don't give up hope. Don't give up hope.
And were both of your children through IVF?
Absolutely. My second, my Ariana, my sweet girl, she was frozen for 2 years. So the first IVF run, I had 3 embryos actually. So she was the first one, and then the other 2 were frozen. And Ariana, we went back for her a year and a half later. So Hannah was 18 months, and I went back for Ariana. And then the third one, we decided to donate it to for research.
This is so amazing to hear. I'm so happy that you're so transparent, because there's so many women who go through complications, sometimes only left with one fallopian tube.
Indeed.
And, the ambition there that I can hear through your voice telling your story is that no matter what, you just knew and felt it was going to happen.
Yes.
And we have Ariana and Hannah here. You're listening to your mother and your father talk about this part of your journey. What are some of the thoughts that's going on through your mind as children from this process?
Well, I was just really proud of them, because it's obviously hard to go through something like that when you're like really hoping for your child to come through. So I was just really happy that they got through it.
How about you, Ariana?
Well, I never heard this story before, but I'm just proud of them that they kept trying until they got it.
That's wonderful to hear. And for so many families, the parents are usually the rock of the family. And here you have not only 2 great parents, you have Mrs. Delaware America, which is one of my favorite pageants, because I learned through her story that this is a pageant that's very unique, that highlights mothers and mothers who have children, which, as we can see in other pageants, it's always the opposite. It tends to be the opposite. So this encourages mothers to become queens. Talk to us about your perspective as children in regards to having a mother that is a queen here in Delaware, supporting the pageant and soon to compete for Mrs. America.
I see her as an inspiration, because she went into this having no experience with a pageant, and then she ended up winning, and I'm just proud of her for putting herself out there.
Thank you, Diane.
I also think that she inspires other people too, because as a fitness instructor and as a mom, it's hard to do both at the same time. So she inspires others too.
And it's beautiful to hear. How do you 2 feel hearing about that with your children?
I am so incredibly proud of these girls. They're such wonderful human beings. I remember praying to God for healthy babies. And I asked him, I said, if you give me these babies, I'm going to raise them to be good human beings. And honestly, I can honestly say I'm so proud of them. They're just wonderful human beings and wonderful young ladies. The future is bright for them. The future is bright.
It definitely is. And to have 2 parents as role models, talk to us about how you manage it all. I can only imagine you being so supportive, but also you following your ambitions and dreams. And then we have Mrs. Toomer, Mrs. Delaware America, who's also, so many hats as a mother, a wife, and a fitness instructor. How do you guys manage as a unit?
Okay. For me, I always present myself to my children that Mommy makes mistakes as well. I'm not this perfect person. I'm trying the best I can. You guys are my first rodeo. Like I didn't have any practice before I had you. So there's going to be some bumps along the road. We're going to talk about our differences, where mommy's going to apologize if she needs to, and we're going to work together. That's the way I raise my children. I want us to work together. I don't want them to put me on a pedestal, because we're all humans. We're full of flaws, and we need to, love is about forgiveness. So for me, I just try to be true to myself. I never really give up on what I like to do. I love to dance. I love to exercise. I'm an outgoing person. I never lost that along the way, being the wife and the mother. I was true to myself, because when you take care of self, when you have self-love, you're able to give better love to anybody, whether it be your children or the world. So I made sure that I was happy. So because I was a happy mom, I raised happy children. And I think, I think we put in the work when they were little. So now I don't have to, it's almost like they're self-led. Like they wake up in the morning, they do that Zoom call. I don't wake them up, because I started this when they were a lot younger. I said, listen, you have to go to school. Put your alarm on. I'm not going to wake you up. Put your alarm on, wake yourself up, and get ready for school. So now they're up before I'm up, and they're ready to, for their Zoom call. So I'm so really proud of them. I really am. Really, really am.
And Mr. Toomer, share with us from the husband's perspective, the father's perspective, the role that you've been playing in this family.
Just try to be supportive. I mean, I do what I can to keep the lights on, and whatever is needed, I try to provide for them. And just be encouraging, especially the girls at this stage of school. I've always been the one to check their homework, or if I have to send an email to the teacher, just stay on top of their education, because that's how I was raised. Because I know that's important. So I try to instill that need in them to get a good education, because my mom used to always tell me, once you have that piece of paper, your diploma, they can never take it away from you. So I try and tell them that, because like we have one she's a sophomore, so I try to tell her that college is right around the corner, and you don't get that sophomore year back. So you can't be applying for college and say, oh, I wish I had done this different in ninth grade, because that's already happened. So you always have to be looking ahead and know what they want from you on a college application.
And for all of you, I just want to get some insight in regards to being the king and the princesses of the queen. Has this changed your life, your perspective? You're gonna see her on TV. Has any of your friends said anything about her being Mrs. Delaware America, the new queen here in Delaware? Talk to us about your perspective and your insight.
Well, day to day, it hasn't changed. I mean, she's the same person that she was pre-pageant. I mean, it's not like she's walking around with a crown on and we have to address her a certain way. She's the same person that she's always been. She's down to earth, relatable. So from that aspect, nothing has changed.
And any of you want to speak?
Well, I feel like people are drawn to her because she has such a bubbly personality, and people aren't afraid to go to her and have fun. So this is a nice opportunity for people to get to know her better.
And like my dad said, she hasn't changed who she is, but I feel like this is just an opportunity for her to expand her platform and inspire others.
It's so amazing to hear how you're staying true to your core. You haven't allowed the pageant to change who you are, which really speaks to so many different layers and maybe facades that other women might feel like they have to hold up, especially in front of other people, if they're a pageant queen or a public figure of that nature. But you haven't done that. You've stayed true to yourself, and you promote that within the community. One of the beautiful things I got to do was the opportunity to be at one of your Zumba fitness classes, and just to see her in her element with the other women in there, just really drawn to her energy. What is your take on her just being so involved in the community and really trying to teach other people about the importance of their temple, taking care of who they are? But she's teaching them more than that, more than just the fitness part, making sure you pay attention to what you're eating, what you're drinking, and all around just really helping women who might be depressed, might be suffering anxiety. What's your take on Mrs. Delaware America doing so much for our community?
Well, it's great that she's able to broaden her horizon now, because even before the pageant, she would show me sometimes some of the comments that people make on her Facebook page, on her videos from Zumba. And they would say how she's such an inspiration, that she's changed their lives. and just the impact that she's had on them. So it's interesting for me to see that, because I just see her as Musulain. I don't see her as what they're saying. I know that she's doing that, but I don't come at her from that frame of reference. So now that she has this platform, it's just nice that she's going to be able to broaden that and have other people be able to see her in that element.
I'm just proud of her for doing what she can to inspire others and like to inspire them to take care of their bodies and work out and make sure they're healthy.
And it really inspires me as well, because people like count on her to do fitness, and so it inspires me to like help others.
How do you feel hearing this from your family?
I feel amazing. I really do feel amazing. I really love these girls. They're sweet young ladies. I'm really, I just hope as a mom, I inspire them to take care of themselves, to take care of yourself from the inside out is very, very important. And I think, even now we stress how important it is to drink lots of water, to eat healthy and take away all the junk food. So because it starts home, you have to start home with anything. It starts from home. So I think with my family, I make sure I practice what I preach. We try to eat healthy and try to drink lots of, clear fluid, not sugar water like I do. But it makes me feel really good. And I'm really excited to just have this bigger platform to just expand and just teach people how important it is to take care of our bodies.
Wonderful, and thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to come into your home today and learn this much about you in regards to you being a mother and a wife. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching this episode of In Focus. It's been a true honor to highlight to you the journey of Musulain Toomer, who is Mrs. Delaware America. We wish her the best of luck as she competes for the national title, Mrs. America, in 2021. But be sure to tune in to WITN 22 for future showings of In Focus by following us on Facebook at WITN 22 Wilm and following us on YouTube by subscribing to WITN Channel 22. I've been your host, Yesenia Taveras. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.